All right, guys, we are the Money Stop, a brand new podcast here on iRacing, brought to you by PGR Esports. I am here with my co-host, Matthew Baker, team owner, NBG, and PGR Esports co-owner, as well as our other co-host, Ron Morris, RMR series owner. That's Ron Morris Racing. He also owns Ron's Race Paints, and he's a Team McCullough driver. How you guys doing tonight?
Great, man. Great.
Doing good. I just ran the McCullough Motorsports last race, and it ended in a tri-oval wreck as usual. So,
as it always does. Well, we are a new podcast here. We're just getting going, but we're here to kind of just let all our viewers know what to expect on this podcast going forward. Essentially, we're in a community of super speedway money racers here on iRacing, and we'll get to a lot of that later, kind of define that for everybody that doesn't know about it yet. But we got a lot of guys probably going to be watching this that are a part of that, so that'd be pretty cool. Bunch of different promotions on here, probably super speedway money races almost every night of the week. So we're also going to be talking about iRacing events. We're going to bring in drivers, show off all their personalities. Pretty polarizing crew here, a lot of egos, so it should be fun interviewing those guys. We'll get into a lot of talking about sim racing equipment, some different leagues, some setup shops, stuff like that. So kind of new, like I said, new to iRacing. Hopefully we can bring a different perspective out there to the sim racing community. So waiting on Garrett Manes here. He's a eNASCAR Coke Series driver, one of the 40 guys in the country racing the eNASCAR series. We're going to get a word with him in a little bit. He raced here tonight, and his spotter is actually Matthew Baker. So I don't know, kind of take us through that race. I didn't get to catch much of it tonight. How'd that go for you guys?
you take the lead on this one. I felt like we put ourselves in a good position, and it just, every time we got to the front, it seemed like we got screwed out of getting back up to the top or left out. So what do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a little frustrating. I mean, we were in position a couple times, and things that were completely out of our control kind of took us out of it. I mean, I didn't exactly expect to get put 4 wide below. I was already below the red, and I was in the middle somehow. So, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that kept unfolding from the front row, and we were just on the wrong end of it. But at the end of the day, I ended up being the one to make the mistake to kind of take ourselves out of contention. So tried to slot into a gap that it was there, and then I guess I side drafted him, or he, lifted as I was trying to slot in, and gap wasn't there anymore. So I don't know. There's definitely some things we could have done different, but not much we could have done to maintain the lead or the controlling positions we were in. So I wish it had unfolded a little bit different. I wish I'd realized our strategy position that we were in and that we were coming up on pit stops, because I think that would have been a game changer. But hindsight is 20/20 on that one.
Yeah, for sure. I think our communication's been on point these last 3 races. So I think going into Richmond, we have a really good shot. If Ryko is going to put down a good set for us, I know they will. So I'm excited to see what we're going to be able to do in a couple weeks, and I think we can get that first win. Speaking of first win, Malik Ray got his first win, and now that makes Garrett the longest tenured Coke driver without a win. So we got to get him a win here.
You got to remind him, right?
Yeah, that's not a stat that I want to continue. That's for sure.
Not at all.
I've been second too many times.
Well, you're not second in PGR, man. You've put up the most podium finishes here at PGR Esports.
You heard him, right? Podium finishes.
Podium finishes. Well, you do have some wins, obviously. Not
Thankfully.
The most amount of wins, but it took you a while, though. I remember, you had a lot of bad luck in PGR races for a long time, and once you broke through with that win, though, you got some more. So, kind of tell our viewers about the money racing scene and your thoughts about it and how much you enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it started off, for me, years ago. We were doing, I guess it was
Ian
just,
stuff?
Yeah, I think it was Ian's races.
Yeah, I used to race with you back then.
Yeah,
And then when Billy Smith used to do
Yeah.
this stuff, I raced a little bit back then. My first ever money race was a late model race at Martinsville that Billy put on during the COVID.
You were in that Unical 76, weren't you? Is that the blue? Was it a blue and orange one? I think.
You talking about me?
Yeah.
I always drove 76. Now, I didn't drive. I may have driven a Unical before I started painting cars, just because it was easy to pull off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. But
I remember that race. We didn't have brakes.
Right. Yeah. That was the old late model stock car that did not have brakes.
Yeah.
I finished 14th, and that was my first ever money race. So I was happy. I was like, hell yeah.
I remember that one. They had a lot of heavy hitters in it, and it was a situation where you weren't really going to pass anybody. I mean, if you were the same pace, which, I mean, the front runners, we were all the same pace, came down to strategy. I flipped the strategy on them, and I think we had a bunch of cautions there at the end that really just kept me in control. So, oh, man. Yeah, I remember. That's when I first got into it.
Do you keep up much with Billy anymore?
No, not really. I haven't seen him.
He's working for JD Racing now. He's
really?
He's moved to Gaffney and working for JD Racing. So
dang,
I think doing all their graphics and help with the crew and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
I just follow him on Facebook. So I know him from RC Racing and then from Sim Racing. So yeah, pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember, when we first started out, like all of my all the moves that I used to make, and given the package is different, but like even as the package was the same, I would never do that stuff now, because I think all of us were still in a learning phase of like the strategies that we were using and the techniques, just completely different. Not even in the same mindset at all.
I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just had money to throw away, I guess.
I mean,
That's how y'all start off money racing. You just start throwing money away until you get hooked up with the right people.
Right.
Shoot, I felt like I was hooked up with the right people, and I kept throwing money away. It was like 3 months straight when PGR first started. I didn't win anything. I didn't even finish most of those races. I might have been in contention to win the race, and I would find a way to not finish it. And it's not a lot of it was actually not my fault, but I've learned you kind of make your own luck to an extent. One mistake will cost you, especially in PGR. There's very little room for recovery. There's so many people in there now. I mean, you probably got 20 people in contention for the win. So,
right.
You saw it the one night we had 7 Coke drivers in there, and I think I was the only one to lead a lap. I mean, it was locked out by Dale Cup the whole night, and every time I come off pit road first, and they'd freaking hang me out down the backstretch. But I mean, that was what it was. You really needed not only just one person, but you needed 2 or 3 teammates to stay at your around you, so that you could actually stay in control. So I don't know. Those races are all positioning and timing, and a lot of luck there at the end, because I mean it gets chaotic, but it's come a long way.
Yeah, it sure has. This is our first podcast, by the way, Garrett. So thanks for coming on. We're actually kind of put you in here, slide you in here first. We're gonna get to these viewers and kind of explain to them this entire money racing community that we have. So that's kind of gonna be the thought process here tonight. Is just introduce hopefully to new drivers that we can get into the money races. But I'm looking at the all-time winners and podiums here, and it looks like you are 7th on the wins list, tied with John Ellis Jr. at 3 wins. But you are number 1, like we talked about, in podiums with 16, including a win in the Fall Brawl. So one of our marquee events back in the fall of 23 here. So you got 3 wins. Kody Neagles, he's on top with 7. You got Alex Hill, has 6 total PGR wins. What's it going to take to kind of catch those guys, man? They seem to win quite a bit of races.
I think a lot of it comes from 50% of the PGR races, especially up until recently. I ran by myself. Recently I've ran a few more with Kevin, and that's worked really well. My dad as well. Just it's been almost beneficial to run by yourself at times, at least financially. And so a lot of times that's the avenue that I've chosen to go. And it is hard to win in those situations because you don't have really enough friends to make it happen. I mean, when you are racing with the team and you've got, 2 to 3 people that you're chopping with, because, I mean, in order to be able to get those results, you have to have somebody that's willing to dedicate when they're not in the position to win and not screw you over in the process, essentially. But, if you're by yourself, you can financially get the same outcome but be 2nd or 3rd. So I kind of opted for that strategy just so that, my decisions controlled my outcome. And I felt like that started to help me, especially when I started to learn what I needed to be doing because it's almost a mentality of I'm just not out for myself. I'm out to help the people around me that are helping me. And I feel like that's kind of benefited me, but I don't know. It still comes down to the end. I mean, everybody's got their loyalties, so we see how it pans out.
Yes, they do. They sure do. I was going to ask too, you mentioned your dad, Jason. He races obviously a lot on these money races with us. And I'm assuming, growing up, he, got you into racing and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. I know I enjoy racing both of you guys. So what's that element like for you, racing your dad in some of these money races?
Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to get to race with him in real life. Actually, the night or the race before, I was supposed to race in the adult class with him. He ended up flipping and landing on his head, so that was a concussion that basically took him out of racing. He has been sim racing ever since, and I mean, he picked it up. I think he was 6,500, 7K or something like that a couple of years ago. He was up there. He was actually in contention in some of the big races. So it's been fun. I haven't got to do as much outside of super speedway racing with him, at least. I've done a lot of cup racing, and I do almost exclusively open nowadays. And without a setup to to compete with, it's really difficult. Plus, those guys that run a open now, they dedicate a lot of time to it. I mean, it's by far my most competitive car, just because I've turned so many laps. It's I know exactly what I need to do for it. And for him, that's super speedway racing. That is not, it's almost like me jumping in a B car race outside of super speedway. It takes some adapting. It's the same way for him, but it's been fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you talking about go-kart racing back with your dad, right? Because him and I have had some conversations about a lot of go-kart racing. Because I used to race go-karts.
My mom wouldn't let me do go-karts.
Okay.
So yeah. never did that. I was actually it was called arena racing. It was,
yeah, you did.
Yeah, the mini cups in the Coliseum.
That looked cool, right. Man.
Yeah, that stuff's wild. I honestly, if that was still a thing, I'd still do it. We were turning 7.8 second laps, jumping into the corners, banked track. Absolutely insane. It was fun. It was probably realistically 3 cars wide. And if you were ever 3 wide, you were definitely tense, because there was not a third lane. If you were in the third lane, you were going to be in the wall, because there was no paint on the track where that groove was. You were either in complete aluminum, or somebody was on the apron. There was absolutely no in between. But it was wild stuff. That is a test of reaction time.
Right.
Cool.
All right, Garrett. Well, last thing we'll talk about: how do we attack Richmond? What's the game plan? How do you think we're going to get to the front and get that first win?
I love how you're get to the front. Yeah, because that's step 1. It's almost like Baker's already prepared for the fact that I'm probably not going to qualify there. But, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like tonight it was one of those races where I felt like I really had a good chance to qualify up front. And, I mean, freaking wind luck and temp luck. I went out first, and the track cooled off. Or, sorry, the air temp cooled off 0.2 of a degree. And, I mean, me qualifying 23rd was less than 400ths off the pole. Yeah, literally nothing. That 200ths made a difference. Or sorry, 0.2 of a degree. So I think at Richmond, going out at the right time, getting the tires up to temp is going to be important. It's a good track for me, but hopefully
that's
we'll
home
have
track, right?
It is a home track. It's the track I got to win in pro in, but it's not the B car. I will say the Cup car. It's a lot of setup, and it's a completely different driving style to push pace out of. And I don't know if it's something that I actually struggle with, or if it's always been just one thing or another that's kept me from qualifying well, but it has been a difficult task. So we'll see if we can get it done. I feel like it's going to be kind of crucial. Richmond's hard to pass at. Even with it being a short track, the Cup car just does not do well in the dirty air, especially on the short tracks. It's pretty difficult. So we'll see what we can get, though.
All right, Garrett. Well, we appreciate you coming on board, man. I'm sure we'll have you on plenty of times here in the future, and hopefully we'll see you here in PGR Thursday night, man. You can get another win there.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Take care.
Y'all too. See ya.
Oh, that was eNASCAR series driver for, well, Garrett Manes right there. Garrett Manes, man. That guy is tough to beat on the super speedways. Him and Matthew Baker over here, they're just trying to get their first win in the Coke Series. Hopefully they can get that soon. He's definitely talented enough, and Matt does a good job spotting for him. So hopefully these guys can go out there and get Garrett's first Coke win very soon. So with that said, we want to segue into our, next subject tonight would be, just introducing everyone to the super speedway money racing scene. No two better guys than my co-host to kind of do that. They've been around here longer than me. So we'll start with Ron Morris. Ron Morris, I know when I first started, I think it was early 2023, I don't even know how I found you, but I found you and jumped in a race. And I'm pretty sure Austin Green, Ghost Racing Network, was doing the broadcast that night. And I sent the link out to a bunch of family and friends, and I was running up front. And I'm pretty sure it was like a next-gen race, which is funny, at Daytona. And I think I was second or third with a couple laps to go and made the wrong move. Found out real quick how my kind of trajectory was going to go with the bad luck right off the bat there. But man, I had a blast, and I'll tell you what, man, I never looked back. So can you kind of introduce everyone to the money scene that might not know about it?
All right. Yeah, I remember that because Brian was helping me with race control. We're like, who's this guy? I've never seen him before. He's pretty good, so that was cool. Like Garrett and I were talking, I've been doing this a good little while. I didn't start iRacing until the pandemic. I raced go-karts for a long time. And then I got into RC car racing. And when the pandemic came, all the RC tracks shut down. So I had to have something to do. So I bought a sim rig. And I think I'm on my fourth rig now. But, my next upgrade would probably be a late model stock car or something. It's just it's a great community. But we started racing with Ian. Ian would race every Friday night. And he would sell out every Friday night. And then we started doing Jeff stuff with FEG. And his stuff was huge, so had a big thing there. And then I just started saying, hey, I'm gonna start hosting some races. So I just started putting some races up on Saturday nights late and stuff. And then, I really didn't want to be the one to do it every week or even every other day. So I started putting on like 4 big races a year. So, I would do a 500 around the Daytona 500, and then I did a 250-mile race. So I started doing like 4 big marquee events a year. It takes a lot of time to promote. My job was very demanding at the time. I was, maintenance at a steel mill, worked a lot of long hours. But then I started doing the Tuesday Night Thunder league thing because it takes a lot less time to promote. Because once you get guys in a league, they're going to come back every week, and that took off, and I really enjoyed doing that. Leading into that starts back up a week from tonight. And I think some of the best competition, between my league and Michael's league with PGR, those are the 2 premier leagues where you're going to get all the really good guys. We don't have a huge field, and I like it like that, 25 to 30 cars. It usually makes a lot of clean racing. We have complete green flag runs sometimes. We race the B car, we race the Xfinity car. I just like doing something different. Everybody races the trucks, so I like doing something a little different. But this community, man, it's just a great community. I've seen us all come together when people got sick, needed help. Kenny went through his stuff. Everybody came together for that. It's like
Absolutely.
a big family, man. It's like a big family. We fight a little bit and we argue, but we all would do anything for anybody. There's nobody out here that I wouldn't help if I had the opportunity to. So just a great community, man, and a lot of great people. And we got some good guys, like you mentioned, Garrett Manes. How many wins do you say he has?
3 wins? I think he has 3 wins in PGR. That's how tough.
So that means he's been beat, however many times. Right, a whole year's worth. So, we got Kody that races with us every week and won, ERA race. We got some really good guys in here.
Won the podium.
Right, Kyler won the podium, right? So
yeah,
great
Kyler
win.
He's got only 1 PGR win and 4 podiums, and that's just, and he's the podium 500 champ right now. So
that's right. So just a great community, man. A bunch of guys that I consider friends. I've never met any of these guys. Hope to do that one day. I know a lot of you guys get together and go to races and stuff. I think that's great things to do. But it's just a great community, and I enjoy it. I spend a lot of time with you guys, and I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, well, we know Baker's well respected in the iRacing community. Fortunately for me, we kind of linked up, and he came on board to help me out with PGR. But it's he doesn't race on Thursdays now, but he races on that the Ron Morris racing on Tuesday nights. And I know Baker last season he had a shot at the title, came up a little bit short, I believe. It gets a little crazy. Ron's season seemed to go pretty smooth, and we get to the playoffs, and we
Right.
we start going down from I think 12 to 8 or 8 to 4, and things start getting crazy.
Desperation sets in.
Yeah. So kind of explain that and the thoughts and everything that we've experienced in those last couple of weeks. And Ron wanted to hang it up, but we knew he wasn't going to do it. So kind of talk about that, because we don't want Ron to go anywhere.
No, I just think, the Tuesday night format of having a league, having a points battle, it really shows who is the best super speedway racers out there. Your top 4 were myself, Jason, Andrew, and Ward. 4 are some of the best, and the top 9 were incredible. Kody didn't even make the top 4 this year. I can't believe that I almost went back to back to be champions in the league. Like that would be more. That championship means more to me than any other race that I've won. More amount of money. It just because it's such a long, hard grind of racing. League style racing is way different, and you're racing for money each week, but you're worried about your positioning.
The
for
big
podiums
picture too, right?
And the big picture,
Yeah.
and that's what I pride myself on. And there's a couple of times that I have slip ups of, thinking big picture, and that happened with the regular season championship the season before that with Ellis and him winning it. But I just locked in and thought about the bigger picture for the championship race and was able to come out on top. So I think it's a nice shift, especially being in the B car. It's a nice shift from what we usually do on Fridays, and Thursdays. And another shift that I enjoy. I know it didn't work out too well last week. I'm really glad I wasn't there to race control it, but the Gen 6 car. The week before that, we put on a hell of a show with it. One of the cheapest centrifuges we had, and probably the best plate race we had in PGR up to date. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we get if we get used to that car, used to the runs, especially mid pack, that's going to put on the best racing, and I think it could be our marquee car.
No, I definitely agree with that. I love the car. I was hyping it up myself, and obviously threw a pretty big dud out on the track Thursday night. I know I wasn't happy. Usually I keep kind of cool.
I was drunk, so I was happy.
Yeah, well, we know another promoter out there, Jimmy Crow, if he's watching this, he might have had a stroke watching that race if it was his race. But,
right.
He wouldn't be with
I've learned to just kind of let that stuff go, but I got a little heated on Thursday because it was not a show. And we have such good drivers in that race. There's no reason to be putting on a race like that. And, I know Ron knows, but we put a lot of time and effort in each week to put these races on more so than people think. And, take time. You can ask my wife, just taking time from her and the kid to put these races on sometimes, man, it's a lot of work.
My wife too.
Yes. So, we'll have to do something extra special for them. But this is for me especially, I know I didn't get to talk much about it, but like I said, I came out of the scene in an RMR race, and I own a couple businesses, and just growing up I've always been kind of I love hobbies. I get into something and I go with it. Like, I'm a very passionate person, as a lot of people on here probably can tell. So for me, obviously the days of going out and doing all that kind of stuff are over. So spend a lot more time at home, and always kind of wanted to have a sim racing rig and get on iRacing. And once I finally did, man, it's changed my life, because it's like I said, I'm at home more, so it's not as much to do, but it's my escape at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Head to the basement, pop the rig on, and like Ron was kind of touching on, meeting a bunch of people that obviously I never thought I'd meet. Obviously I met Matt and Jeff Merck down in Daytona. So, and I'm sure, there'll be more of that in the future. So it's beyond just iRacing. It's beyond just the money racing community. Just meeting the people, getting to know them. Something I'd like to talk about kind of is, we see all these kind of teams and, form in money racing, and, it's great and all, but I love teaming up with people that, are a buddy to mine and I enjoy racing with. The money is cool and it's there, but to me, that's not what's so important. And I hope that we can get that through to some more of the money racers, because, sometimes it's just about the company, you have sitting in the Discord and you're racing with, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So we all have our jobs, and that's how we make our money. And it is nice. There are some guys making quite a nice amount of money on here doing it. But for the majority of us, we call us donators. There's a lot of donators out there, but
right.
we have a
Proud
lot of
myself
fun
on that.
Yeah. But Ron, like you won a couple races or you cash a couple times. I mean, that feels good when you do it.
It feels great. Yeah. And it's not even about the money. It's just,
Right.
feels great that you were one of the top 3, 4, 5 people in that race, because, like we said, we're going to get so much competition. It just feels good. It feels good to be out there pushing Garrett Manes or getting pushed by Garrett Manes. Whenever I see that he's a pro,
Right.
you look at the race on Saturdays and Sundays and you see names in there that you've raced against before. I mean,
Yep.
Parker Retzlaff used to race with us every week,
Every week.
So that's so cool, man, to see that, to see, Rajah win a race last week.
Right.
He's a sim racer,
Roger
man.
Carruth. Yep.
Right. I mean, he's a
William
sim racer,
Byron.
dude.
Look
That's
at
how you
William
got William Byron. That was a long time ago, so people don't really think about that sometimes. But it's true, man. It's so cool. Such a good feeling.
It's really changing the scene in NASCAR. I mean, these kids are getting opportunities now that never would have happened before, and it's really cool to see. And one of those, Malik Ray, I mean, he's attached with Spire Motorsports.
Yeah.
And they made it pretty like
that they want to get him in there, right?
That they want to get him in a developmental car after this. So it'd be great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And for him to get the win and capitalize here in Atlanta in a fixed race setup, more than anything, like just it's incredible for him. I'm really happy for him, and definitely one of the guys who everyone was rooting for to get a win, and you could see the elation. Right. And it was almost as big as a celebration as the guy that just came on the screen.
Yes, sir.
Can you do that again?
Malik did it for about half a lap. Kody did it for the lap and the fucking burn it down. So,
Well, yeah, here he is, man. This is Dale Cup driver Kody Neagles. He is the current defending ERA champion. Just a couple weeks back, won the $4,000 prize. Kody Neagles, one of the best in super speedway. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good, and I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. We actually got to speak with Garrett a little bit earlier. So you're our second guest here tonight. We were kind of poking with Garrett about how many PGR wins he has, which is currently 7th on the list with 3 wins, but you have 7 wins. You're number 1 on the list with 13 podiums. You just a month ago, you ran off 4 in a row, man, and we talked a lot about tonight about, how good the drivers in super speedway are, and not only PGR, but in RMR. And, you're going against the best of the best each week. So, kind of tell us about that and, how you been able to get so good so fast in super speedway.
Well, I think first off, I have to mention that I can't even get there without the help of my teammates, and I've ran with, in my year, it's right out a year now, that I've been money racing. And honestly, I think I've ran with 2 of the top teams out there with Dale Cup and NBG. I've been exposed to some of the smartest super speedway minds and some of the best talents out there, and I've been able to kind of mold, I feel like, my racecraft around each one of my teammates, take what I like and just kind of mold it into kind of who I am, or see maybe what works and what doesn't work. So as I keep going along, I try to just get better with every race, which I believe we all do. So it's been a blessing to have the teammates.
Absolutely, man. You guys, Dale Cup's one of the best teams out there. NBG, Garrett, who often sometimes, doesn't race on a team, but, he'll bounce with a couple guys. But you got McCall Motorsports, you got Team PGR, you got KSR, Bar. I mean, there's so many teams out there. It seems like every week there's a new team, and, you got Hyper Motorsports. What are you going to do? I know there's a lot of guys gunning for you right now. It seems like, we touched a little bit about the drama in the money scene, not too much. I know we got a little feud here with John Ward of Hyper Motorsports, Dega Pros, Discord. How you navigating all that? And, you're going to have you got a target on your back. So what are you going to do to keep fending off these guys and finishing in first?
One, I need to stay hungry and not get complacent on the success I've had. And two, I just don't want to sit on the rivalries too much because, Ward is a great driver out there. And at the end of the day, I feel like you kind of have to try to make some friends and not too many enemies. So hopefully, we can, duke it out on the track here for a few weeks, and possibility of us seeing each other in the bracket actually a week from Thursday. So hopefully we can just kind of duke it out a little bit amongst each other, and then put it all to rest, because I do respect him as a driver, and it's just at the end of the day I feel like a little bit of a disagreement on how things went down, and I've said my piece about it, but again, sometimes it just takes time, and I've helped him and he's helped me on the track, and hopefully we can get back to that once the rivalry ends.
Yeah, and speaking of John Ward, we did talk a little bit about some of the promotions, in the money racing scene. So essentially, we all kind of buy in, we got to buy in, say it's $20 and we're all throwing it in to one of these promotions, and the promotion's putting on the race. They got a race flyer and all that. They have the payouts. We go put on the race, and whatever those payouts are to however, usually top 5, top 6, something like that, get paid out. John Ward runs Dega Pros, and it's what's cool about Dega Pros is, he does a lot of pot races. So every night he'll get on there and get guys that aren't in our community essentially to throw in, $5, and if they want to, and, they'll pay out a few positions. So it's a great thing that John does, because it gets, like I said, a lot of guys that aren't in our community in. He's probably has grown, our community tenfold compared to a lot of us with how much races he puts on. So I appreciate, all the stuff you said about him. And, I think that will definitely die off as time goes on. Just much like a lot of the other stuff that goes on. I know, we had a little issue too with him at some point, but it's hard racing. There's money on the line. Tempers are going to flare. You see it in real NASCAR all the time. So, it's kind of like it is what it is. And I know you're a good dude. You'll go out of your way to, try to, squash it. And I know you have. So hopefully John can, get a hold of you one time. You guys can talk it out, and, I'm sure you guys will keep racing each other hard. So.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with that. I mean, we've had run-ins before, but nothing's really lasted this long. But I think you hit the nail on the head, man. It stems from racing each other night in and night out. I mean, I probably race against John 4 or 5 nights a week minimum. And, he's always up front. I try to be up front, and, one thing goes awry, and then somebody might think, oh, maybe there was ill intentions behind that. And next thing you know, you got a rivalry brewing. But again, we're all passionate. We all want to win. And that's exactly where this stems from. It's not personal, and it definitely will get buried just like every other rivalry has.
For
Right.
sure.
I enjoy having both of you there, and I kind of chimed in on when y'all wanted to have a little challenge that said one of you were going to sit out for a year. So I don't want to see that happen. I enjoy racing with both of you guys. You're both really good, and you make us all better. So whenever I'm watching these races on my TV in there when I'm streaming, like the ERA race or Podium, or tonight I was streaming the Coke Series race. My sons, they're like, "Is this real, or is this virtual, or is this iRacing?" I'm like, "It's iRacing." And he like, "Are any of those your friends?" I'm like, "Yeah, And I start naming these guys off. So, we've been talking about that a lot, but it's really cool racing against you guys that are at a top level. I'm trying to get there. I feel like I'm getting better. I know, like, they talked to Frankie Muniz on Saturday, and before the Xfinity race, he said, "Hey, if you're a golfer and you want to get better playing golf, you don't go play a bunch of guys that suck. You go play guys that are good, and they're going to bring your game up. So, that's kind of what it does with our racing. We race for the best, and it brings our game up. So I don't want to see either one of you go anywhere, like both of you guys. So stick around.
Well, I'll definitely be around, and honestly, what I said just is a lot of everyone says things that they probably shouldn't or regret at the end of the day. I want to race
myself included.
I want to beat him every single night I see him on the track, but I say that because I do respect him as one of the better drivers out there and one of the most consistent. I mean, he's doing it with probably less help than just about anyone out there, truth be told, because he's had a revolving door at his team for quite some time. So I will give him his due on that. And, I mean, like I said, I've been in the money scene for about a year now, and I was at the point last year where it's like, all right, how do I prove myself? How do I get up there with the top echelon? And the first thing I thought is watching all of the broadcasts, like the RMR and the PGR and the FEG and the podium races, just soak it all in. You got to be a sponge and learn from the guys that are consistently doing it, which before I got into the money scene, I was watching, Garrett, Jason, Baker, Lee, Ray Rittenauer, guys like that get it done. And it's like, all right, I want to be them, so I need to try to mimic my game as best I can around them.
Yep. I think it helps myself. I go back the next day and watch the broadcast. I think it helps a lot, seeing the moves that other guys are making, seeing where you messed up, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So,
There's always something to learn when it comes to these races. I learn something every single time I hop in the seat. I learn something. And another thing that John Ward's been doing is the Little Guy Series. It's been a ton of fun. Dawson and I call it over on Hickory Racing Network. Dawson leads the charge on that, and I co-commentate with him. And I mean, these last two races to start the season have been nothing short but crazy. We had two cars finish on the lead lap in the first race, no cautions. They battled to the line. They finished side by side. Logan got edged out by Austin, and then last night, Ron was in the race.
Well, that first one, I was probably about to come out the pits by myself in first place, and I sped coming out the pits, and I needed to slow down where people could catch me, and I speed coming out the pits and went a lap down. And I probably had that race in the bag, but last night was just, I just couldn't catch any luck last night.
There was no luck.
I came from the back to the front like 6 times.
I think at the last 5 races at the Little Guy Series had went green, and then of course the race for the session has darkness about to come around. We decided to race out of our minds like they're actually racing in darkness. It's like, no, man, we're just race like you've been doing it before. We'll make it before the darkness. Come on.
Oh, jeez. That was a very interesting. I only caught the back end of that race after the OP race got done.
I don't know how you caught the back end of it. You couldn't see anything.
No, I say I caught the back end of it, but I literally was just listening to the commentary because I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, I've never seen the tail lights on the pace truck before, and I've never seen the Sunoco sign lit up before. That was really cool.
That's funny. They put the Sunoco sign lights on.
Oh boy, here we go.
Well, yeah, Kody, I had to do it to you, man. This was probably one of the best celebrations I've ever seen. I actually am still laughing because it's just in my memory probably forever. So we're gonna play this for everyone to kind of see. This was the last lap of the ERA.
Look at his whole rig shaking.
Look at so what are you thinking here? Am I gonna get spun? Am I gonna get spun?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really know what I was thinking. It's like, there's so much emotion going through your body. It's like, you kind of lock up, and the competitor in me is just trying to focus on where he's at. So I knew being spun was a real pop. By the way, I am glad the audio didn't come through on that. But it was done before. Like, honestly, I wasn't even super nervous the last lap because I was really hyper focused on just hitting my marks and giving Max a good predictable bumper to push. So at least I get second. And by the time I could even blink, it was all done. So thankfully, I didn't have time to overthink it too much.
Yeah, that was quite the celebration, man. I know we had a lot of fun with that night. But I mean, kudos to you, man. You got the job done, and support. It's awesome because for our community, to go out there and win that race. Just like Podium too. I mean, Kyler wins part of the money racing community too. I know it wasn't one of the guys that we run with almost every night of the week, but Kyler's still a big part of it. So, I mean, really right now, you got two guys that won the two biggest races of the year that do money races. So, this community is very strong, and it really goes to show, the talent that we have because, we're doing it night in, night out. You get guys like Garrett in, and, Garrett does it enough. So, he's got, he's kind of on the same, field as we are, but you got, Malik's in there. You got Bowden. I'm trying to think of some other guys that come in there and race with us, but yeah, Michael Guest comes in there. I mean, they're not winning PGR races. They're not winning RMR races. It's tough for them because the competition that we have. So, it's a testament to you and Dale Cup, NBG, a lot of these guys. Kenny McCullough, I know he's been around for a long time. That it's hard to beat you guys, and I try every week myself. So, and I love to race you. I love to race the best guys because it's made me a lot better here in the last year or so.
Well, it's made me better, and that's why I'm here. Is I want to race against the best. Because as the old saying goes, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I think that's why we're all here. It's not, the money is like the little added incentive on top, but at the end of the day, we want to be the best iRacers that we can possibly be, and you're not getting any better super speedway racing than right where we're at right now.
No, I agree with you on that one, man. Well, we appreciate, you coming out and joining us tonight. This is our first podcast, The Money Stop, with Ron, Matt, and myself. We appreciate it, man. I'm sure we'll have you on many more times. We're going to let you go, wrap up here tonight, and we'll hope to talk to you soon, man.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, no problem.
See ya.
Well, that was Kody Neagles, driver for Dale Cup. He is the current defending champion of the ERA Springbowl, the $4,000 winner. So Kody Neagles, a great competitor, awesome voice for the money scene. So looking forward to bringing him on again here in the future, guys. But, it's been a good first night. I know we've talked a lot about the money scene. Hopefully, in the future here we can start bringing a lot more topics up. I'm sure we'll have plenty to say, going forward. But, I enjoyed hanging out with you guys tonight. It's actually now it's Wednesday. So I'm sure there's going to be some races tonight. We got PGR Thursday tomorrow night. It's going to be another March Madness race. I think it's the Elite 8 now. So we got some good matchups there. Anything else from you here tonight, Ron Morris?
Nah, just next Tuesday night, hope to get a pretty good field for Tuesday Night Thunder and get a good start on that. So, just come. All the information will be in the Discord, and I'll be sharing it amongst everybody else's Discord. So, and I've been sharing it out on Facebook, so that reaches a lot of people. So, hope to see everybody there.
Yeah, that's RMR. It's every Tuesday Night Thunder. What's usually about $25 entry, Ron?
Yeah, it's $10 charter, so that $10 goes straight to the championship fund, and then it's a $25 entry fee every Tuesday night, and I think about 8 of that goes into the championship fund, and the rest gets paid out to drivers. Just keep enough money out of it to pay the broadcaster. It's broadcasting on the Ghost Racing Network, and the rest of it goes back to the racers. That's what it's all about. I don't do this for a living.
Right.
I do it to build the community and for the racers. So. I like to give money back to the racers. That's what it's all about. You guys too. Same thing, man.
No, I agree. Absolutely, man. I mean, that's what is really what it's all about at the end of the day. We talk about this a lot, that we're, putting a lot of this work in for nothing. I mean, most of the time you're losing money by the time you host the race fees, and you accidentally paid out all the money and somebody didn't make the race, and then you got to eat that. So,
right. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that, right? So, but yeah, Tuesday night, man, everyone should check that out. It's like, we talked about earlier. It is truly the best money racing, league out there as far as, point system goes. I love point racing, man. Like, I'm much better at point racing than I'm at getting wins. So I'm looking forward to Tuesday. So, all right. Well, before we go, we'll also talk to Baker over there. What are you going to get into here the rest of the week? I know we got PGR here in a couple days. Anything you're going to be racing, anything you'll be doing, having some fun. I know you frequent Universal, Disney World with the wife a lot, so you're always doing something fun down there.
Yeah, always doing something. This weekend I have a wedding to go to, so I'll be at a wedding on Saturday, I believe. So I won't be doing anything Saturday, but I'm sure Friday. Jimmy Crow's got his races coming up, Super Speedway Kings, his doubleheader coming up, and looking at the screen now, you got the bracket up there. I'm gonna make my picks right now. Actually, we can do that.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, we got three more races left here in March Madness, so it'll be Thursday night, 10:30 Eastern time. We're going 48 laps under the lights at Daytona. $22 entry. You see the payouts there. Always good payouts at PGR. But it is the Elite Eight, and Matt's going to make his picks. There's the bracket, and we have some barn burners here in the Elite Eight.
That's a tough one. So I'm going to take Kody over JR. I think he's the favorite going into it. My bracket that I pucked out, I had Kody making it to the Final Four, but then losing. I couldn't send Rhonda. It's a conflict of interest if I was to send my entries because I would just black flag someone and be like, "All right, I'm in." Right. Patton wouldn't have made it. Let's just put it that easy. But I'll take Kody, and then Ward and Win. I'm going to take Kyler. Kyler's been running really well. Ward's had a string of bad lucks here in PGR as of late. Not to his own doing. It's more just the fault of other people up front or just getting caught up in it, being an innocent bystander, which happens a lot on PGR. So I'll take Kyler there. Patton and York, I think the dream runs over for Patton because Logan York has been on a tear. I don't know if you've seen him the past couple of weeks. Big dog champion. I mean, beat the guy by a 10,000th of a second. And Jason Manes. And
what a finish there!
That was an incredible finish. I think Logan's on a real tear, and I think he's got a good shot to win this entire bracket and put his name out there. Maybe get on a better team, run with a couple guys, but he's just one of those guys who likes to run by himself. He despises the team racing. He wants to go up there and win races. It's just something that he doesn't understand too well. He thinks you got to race and go for the win, which I get, but if you're in a money spot that's paying out the same top five for those smaller races, why not just stay in line and push, even if it's not your teammate? I'll push Ron Morris to the win 9 times out of 10. If I get third and it's the same money, I don't care. That's just something he's got to understand. But I think he's understanding it now. He's running up front. He's making a lot more friends. You know, he always has his enemies, but he's making a lot more friends because they know he can run up front and stay up there and push. So I'd definitely take Logan there. And then Kevin and Bowden, this is two of the best. Probably top 5 Coke drivers on super speedways, if not top 3. Finished second tonight to Malik Ray in Atlanta, and he proves himself time and time again. Makes
with that below the line almost pass, right? That was cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then Kevin, you talk about him all the time. He's one of those. I call him the Kevin Harvick or the Denny Hamlin. He's patient. He's methodical. Him and Jones hasn't been as lucky as late, but Kevin is just always up front. He makes the right moves. Doesn't drive over his head really. You know, even some of the top drivers. You know, Kody will drive over his head sometimes. Sean or Alex does it all the time. A lot of people making moves that they regret. Kevin, I don't see a move Kevin makes that he regrets ever. He's one of the most consistent racers that we have. So I'd probably take Kevin there. So I'd take the 4 is going to be Neagles versus Kyler, and then Logan versus Kevin, I think.
I got Neagles and Ward on that left side. And then I got Logan, and of course I got Kevin. Out of the guys that paid for a bracket, I'm the only one that has somebody left that's possible to win the championship.
Oh, man.
And that's Kevin. So I got Kevin going all the way. Yep. So that's my 4 picks. What we're racing, trucks Thursday night?
Yep. Trucks to Daytona.
Cool. Hey, I got one more plug too. McCullough Motorsports, MMS, has a 500 coming up. Not this coming Sunday, but the next. So I don't know if we'll do another podcast before that, but I think it's a $44 entry fee. if we get more than 40 drivers or 40, however many drivers, there's going to be a consolation race. It's going to pay as well. So good little format there. So look into that if you want to get into a money race on a Sunday evening or late Sunday afternoon. So I think Michael's trying to find. It's in Discord if you want to pull it up. It's posted everywhere.